from GSS Murthy ji now, who is a postgraduate in telecom engineering at from IISc Bangalore, and joined Indian Telecom Services Government of India and retired as advisor operations to the Department of Telecommunications Government of India. Studied Sanskrit under traditional scholars as an extracurricular activity during student days, and resumed Sanskrit studies after retirement. A collection of his Sanskrit poems under the title Chandrika has been published. So also his translation of Ibsen's Dollhouse under the title Putrika Griham. His Kannada translation of Sri Vedanta Deshika's Subhashita Nivi has been published by Academy of Sanskrit Research, Melkote. He has written programs in Java for Sanskrit Sandhi and identifying Sanskrit meters. He has published 3 papers in the area of Sanskrit Chandas, 2 in the Annals of the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, and 1 in Prachi Pragya. His presentation today is on modern explorations into the ancient Sanskrit world of Chandas. Over to you.
Namaskar, dear co-speakers, viewers and listeners. My greetings to you all for the New Year Shobhana. At the outset, I thank the founder of INDICA institutions, Shri Hari Kishan Vatlamani Garu, and the organizers of the Symposium, INDICA Center for Bharatiya Languages. In particular, Dr. Nagaraj Paturi, Dr. Meg Kalyan Sundaram, and Dr. Aravind Iyer for having given me an opportunity to address you. With your kind indulgence, I dedicate this talk of mine to the memory of late Dr. Ramakant Shukla, who passed away last March. He was a reputed Sanskrit and Hindi scholar, poet, and a publisher of Sanskrit books. He was my mentor in the field of Sanskrit poetry. Let me say a few words about the title of this talk. The title mentions of ancient world of Sanskrit Chandas. Chandas is one of the 6 Vedangas. It deals with the meter employed in the Vedas. Although this talk does not cover Vedic Chandas, the classical Chandas employed in classical Sanskrit texts is a direct descendant of Chandas Vedanga. It is in fact an ancient world. The first treatise on Chandas was written by Acharya Pingala, who perhaps lived around 100 or 200 BC. Pingala's work is thorough and comprehensive. Later works on Chandas written by various scholars mostly try to explain and simplify Pingala's work, which was written in a terse and brief sutra style. Around 11th or 12th century, more than 1,000 years after Pingala, Kedara Bhatta brought out a book, Vrittaratnakara, a primer on Chandas, which virtually covered in a lucid manner all the topics dealt with by Pingala. The distinguishing feature of Vrittaratnakara is that the verse defining a meter is composed in the same meter. Later authors followed this style. The words modern explorations denote my studies on Chandas during the last 20 or more years. In my attempt to write a program for identifying Sanskrit Vrittas, I ran into difficulties in the case of Anushtup. My studies in Pingala and Kedar Bhatta led me to the surprising conclusion that what is called Anushtup remains ill-defined. Most of Ramayana, Mahabharata and Puranas are composed in Anushtup, and it could be the most used poetic meter among all languages in the world. It is indeed strange that it has remained a vaguely or insufficiently defined meter for so long. Then the question arises, how have poets composed Anushtup without knowing its characteristics? The answer could be the inherent rhythm or cadence of a meter. This inherent rhythm, which is ingrained in a poet's mind, with repeated listening and reciting, helps him or her to compose correctly. What exactly is this rhythm is yet a mystery. I shall deal with this in some detail later. Before we delve into the details, let's quickly get to know the elements of some prosody. There is no harm if there is repetition, as it helps retention. A short vowel, Rasvaswara, is assigned the duration of one matra. It is called Lagu. A long vowel, Dirghaswara, Anuswara, or Visarga, assigned the duration of two matras and is called Guru. The last syllable of a verse line is also taken as two matras. A consonant is taken to be of 0 matra duration. A short vowel, then immediately followed by a Samyuktakshara, namely compound consonant, is assigned a duration of 2 matras. This is a remarkable rule which is not at all obvious, and whoever determined this rule in the hoary past merits to be called the father of Sanskrit Chandas. In Sanskrit, there are 3 broad categories of meters: Aksharagana based meters, Matragana based meters, and syllable based meters. We shall soon see what an Aksharagana is. Poets of classical Sanskrit have composed Mahakavyas utilizing mostly these Aksharagana meters, like Mandakranta, Indravajra, etc. Verses composed employing Matragana based meters can be seen in Sanskrit dramas and mostly in Prakrit works. Syllable-based verses are where a line of verses has a fixed number of syllables. The only meter of this type is Anushtup, which we are going to discuss soon. When I talk of Anushtup, I refer to the meter in which the vast body of Sanskrit text has been composed. Unfortunately, only a part of the vast body of Anushtup is covered by the definition given by Pingala, or for that matter, any other past prosodics. The definition is like a filter. You should allow most of whatever should pass through. You should not allow most of whatever should not pass through. Now let us get to know what this Aksharagana is. In general, a line of words is a string of lagus and gurus. In order to specify and easily memorize which syllable is lagu or guru in a line of verse, our ancient prosodists have devised a 3-syllable coding system. There is a mnemonic, Yamata Rajabanasa. See, this is a circular sequence. Nasaya is Nagana. Sayama is Sagana. Banasa is Bagana. It's like so on and so forth. A verse can be composed by specifying a sequence of Aksharaganas. Now let us see what Matraganas mean. Now we shall see what Matraganas means. The duration of a sequence of syllables in Matras is sum total of the duration of each syllable in the sequence, and that duration specifies a Matragana. If a meter is specified in Matraganas, there is a certain amount of freedom in choosing actual syllables. If you specify a line of words, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, where 2 is 2 Matragana, it could be 2 or 1, 1. If Chagana is specified, which is total matra is 4, we have much greater possibilities. Aksharagana based specification makes the meter rigid like a crystal. Matragana specification is amorphous. Matraganas of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are represented by Data, Cha, Pa, and Sha. Now we are going to study 3 topics. The first is characterizing the classical Anushtup. The second is introducing the concept of Tala and Laya. The third one is a very interesting subject of generating meters. Here are 3 typical and well-known verses of all in Anushtup. First is a prayer to the divinity. The second is an expression of pathos and anger felt by Valmiki. The third was in lighter vein. If we have to decide whether a particular sloka is Anushtup or not, We have no way other than to depend on our innate sense of rhythm, although we as yet do not have an objective definition of rhythm, which arises out of the pattern of syllabic durations in a line of verse. But this innate rhythm enables a poet to compose without closely checking. It enables an experienced listener or reader to detect lapse of rhythm. Does familiarity provide the sense of rhythm? To some extent, perhaps yes, but to some extent not. It's the mechanics of rhythm we are going to explore here, and not its aesthetics. The elusive rhythm is the sutradhara of the three topics I am discussing. There are two well-known karikas which specify Anushtup in a similar manner, but these definitions are neither correct nor sufficient. I am not going to the details of how earlier definitions fall short of necessary and sufficient characterization. Anushtup has been defined by Pingala and Kedar Bhatta. Pingala's Pratyavatra is just a subset of Anushtup as we see in some texts. If we really study Anushtup slokas, we find that it has following characteristics. 4 padas of 8 syllables each. The padas 1 and 3 differ from padas 2 and 4. The first syllable and the last syllable of a pada could be lagu or garu. It doesn't matter. The remaining 6 syllables of a pada form 2 akshar in sequence. It is found that certain combinations only of these 2 ganas go to make an anushtup. Acceptable combinations are marked in a table. This way of representing in a table is very illuminating. The horizontal rows represent 8 possibilities of syllables 2, 3, 4. Vertical columns represent 8 possibilities of syllables 5, 6, 7. Combinations marked 0 are acceptable for odd padas, and marked E are acceptable for even. A pair of shlokas defines these combinations. The definition arrived at accounts for most of Anushtup texts encountered. Details may be seen in my paper, which I will refer to later. Here are some examples in Vishampada. Some are acceptable, some cannot be accepted. Sarakshati Ramanatha is fine. Sarakshati Madhuripuhu is not okay. In Samapada also, Shargadanma Kripanidhihi is fine. Janardana Kripanidhihi doesn't meet the requirement. This table consolidates the 16 permissible combinations for padas 1 and 3 and 5 combinations of padas 2 and 4. Thus, 80 possibilities exist for an anushtup. Now, this gives some food for thought. In this study, it is not the solution offered which is of importance. It is identifying that a problem exists and delineating that problem. Why is it that anushtup has 8 syllables? What is special with 8? Can we construct anushtup like meters having 7, 9, 10 or 11 syllables? Of course, Vedic meter Trishtup has 11 syllables. Can we come up with an objective definition of anushtup rhythm? These are things to be thought over. For further details, my paper please be referred. Now we go to the second concept, second subject, concept of tala and laya. Intuitively, one can say that if successive aksharas in a pada of a verse could be grouped into small segments, each group having the same duration and ending in a vowel, one could perceive a beat of constant duration leading to a sense of rhythm. That means that if a pada could be broken down into segments of equal matras, matra ganas, a rhythm beat could be perceived. An example is the famous hymn of Sri Shankaracharya, Bhaja Govindam. which is composed in a meter based on matra ganas. It is a beat which anyone can discern. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte, Sanite, Sale, Nahi Rakshati Dukri Karne. It can be a little examination to show that it can be broken down to single silver segments of duration 4 matras, as can be seen in this slide. It is also observed that a step of 2 or 3 matras at the end will not affect the overall rhythm of the line and often improve the quality of the rhythm. In a similar manner, would verses based on Varna Ganas be broken down into Matra Ganas so that such a structure based on Matra Ganas provides a beat for the verse. For any beat to be perceived, it should be possible to break the pada into at least 2 segments of equal duration with or without a step remaining. Let us take Indra Vajra, a popular method based on Aksargana. If we want to study its beat structure, we need to get down to the syllabic level. We abandon the archaic Lagu Budak symbols and represent Lagu by 1 and Guru by 2. In terms of Lagu and Guru, Indra Vajra is as seen in this slide, which we call the characteristic string of Indra Vajra. It can be split into 2 substrings of 9 matras each. We also see there an internal structure 22122, which occurs in both the strip strings. We say that Indra Vajra exhibits a tala of 9 matras with a laya 22122. The characteristic string of Indra Vajra can also be split into a tala of 7 matras with a laya 223. We can synthesize a string which has a tala of 9 matras which is given laya, and a tala of 7 matras which is laya, and a step of 2-2. It turns out that the string synthesized called Prakrita here is slightly different from the characteristic string of Indra Vajra. It means that tala and laya of Indra Vajra are insufficient to capture its rhythm. Tala specifies the periodicity in a line of verse, and laya specifies the instance of pause within a period. With the help of a computer program developed, tala and laya structure of more than 300 meters have been worked out and given as a table in the paper refer. Summing up this topic, one can say that the opacity of the age-old Aksargana system has been an obstacle for studying in detail the beat structure inherent in meters. By directly studying the characteristic strings of meters, one can discover the beat structure of meters through the twin concepts of tala and laya. It is hoped that this work, based on an out-of-the-box approach, will open to a new and rich area for further exploration in Sanskrit prosody. Now, we take up the third and the last topic, namely generation of new meters. The rhythmic essence of a set of meters can be captured and encapsulated in what is called an adjacency table. It generates not only the meters on which the table is based, but also other recognized meters, as well as a large number of entirely new rhythmic meters. While in the previous approach of tala and laya, we looked at the level of syllables, which is so to say a bottom-up approach. In this top-down approach, we look at the level of substrings, treating them as rhythm elements. This approach is best studied using an example. A person familiar with Sanskrit meters would be aware that several of the meters end in a similar manner. To avoid dealing with bland and boring binary sequences comprising 1 and 2, we shall use standardized Sanskrit phrases. Obviously, our interest is only in the prosodic content of the phrase, not its semantic content. So here are 4 vrittas, all different, Shalini, Malini, Bhujanga, Priyatam, Manda, Kranta, but they have a common end, Madhvare, Pai, Chauri. All the above populars are end in a common phrase. It goes without saying that this 7-syllable long phrase contributes significantly to the rhythmic quality of these meters. One cannot also fail to notice that certain phrases are repeatedly employed. In fact, these 4 meters are made up of the following 5 phrases only: Kamsare, Madhumutana, Hare, He, and Madhare Paishavre. It is to be stressed that these phrases integrally participate in the perception of the rhythm of each of the meters without violating accepted points of pause, whether prescribed or not. We treat these 5 phrases of rhythm elements and based on these 4 meters, which we shall call base meters, work out what would be the rules which these rhythm elements should follow in these 4 rhythmic lines of verse. In order to explore further, we set up what we call an adjacency table, which is a convenient way of recording which phrase comes after which phrase in these 4 meters. What we have called here adjacency table is in fact an adjacency matrix in the mathematics of graphs. The syntax of languages, natural or artificial, can be represented by directed graphs where each category of words forms a node. The syntax or grammar of the rhythm element, which is brought out by the adjacency table, can also be visually represented by a directed graph as shown here. We can construct meters, which are the analog of sentences, by following the permissible sequences in figure 1. What we are trying to do here is to work out the syntax for rhythm, taking the rhythm elements as grammatical parts of speech. The method of using an adjacency table to construct meters is based on the premise that preserving the adjacency observed in a closely related set of rhythmic meters ensures that any meter so constructed is also rhythmic. Each rhythm element has an affinity to certain other elements in becoming their neighbor. This affinity is, so to say, captured in the adjacency table. From a set of only 4 related meters, we have constructed an adjacency table, and this adjacency table yields 18 different meters, out of which 4 are the base meters, 4 are meters recognized, which includes Structura, and the remaining 10 are new meters. It's our contention that the 10 new meters are as big as the 4 new meters. The various steps detailed for Madhurya Paishavre group have been worked out for 3 more groups, each group being denoted with the spine rhythm element Madhav Pahimam, Daya Chalnide, Daya Jalanide, and Keshu Paigane. For a given set of meters in a group, the set of rhythm elements is not unique. Future research efforts could lead to getting rid of this subjective element in choosing the set. To recapitulate, we have discussed 3 topics in the area of Sanskrit Chandas. The first one was our discovery that there has been no comprehensive definition of Anushtup so far, at least ever since Valmiki is famous for exploring in Anushtup. We have provided a suitable definition. Secondly, we have enunciated the new concepts of Tala and Laya and indicated how the twin concepts provide a new perspective. Thirdly, we have discussed a new method of generating new meters based on a set of cognate vrittas using the concept of adjacency table. Whatever I have talked about is the result of an endless wanderings in the landscape of Chandas Shastram. Whether it has made a trial worth pursuing is for others to say. Its joy, partly aesthetic and partly intellectual, that the wonder of experiments in its wanderings has been immense. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, GSS Murthy ji, for not just sharing your insights, but also providing references for people who would like to dive deeper into your papers and for introducing aspects of some of your original findings from them. I also appreciate you maintaining time. Thank you so much.